So welcome everybody to our talk tonight. I'm Noreen McDonald, and we're going to have the lovely Ruth Wilkinson talking later on in the talk as well. She's an amazing personal trainer. So welcome to Effective Food and Fitness. If you're new to Zoom, on the bottom of your screen you'll see a mute button, so if everyone can mute themselves that would be great. And there's also a chat button, so you're welcome to type in questions or comments into the chat and it'll pop up on my screen, and we'll try and have some time at the end for Q&A. So yeah, look, Bruce and I wanted to put together this talk because definitely what I find in my clinic, I'm a naturopath, is that I see a lot of people that are either fit or they're healthy, and I don't really often see a person who is healthy and fit, meaning that they're doing the correct exercise, they're spending time working out and doing what they love, and they might have an amazing body. But so many of them just haven't got the diet part sussed that well, and then when they don't have that sussed, it can lead to injuries and all sorts of other stuff going on. So we believe that you need to have a combination of approaching health, especially with fitness, in terms of you need to have a great exercise regime and routine, and Ruth's going to go right into that in the second half of the talk. And she's had a lot of experience and she's got some great tips to share with all of us tonight on how to exercise in a healthy manner and effectively. And I'm going to talk about firstly using food to develop fitness, to recover from fitness, and I'm going to go into talking about what actually happens at a physiological level when we're actually exercising. So I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to share the screen because I've prepared a slideshow, because quite a lot of the stuff's a little bit scientific, so it's probably better that you're looking at the screen rather than my face. So I'm just going to hit share screen. Where are we? Oh, okay. Can everybody see that? Ruth, can you see that? Hello?
Yes, I can.
Good. Is it all right like that, or do you want me to make it bigger?
If you can make it bigger, it might be easier to see.
Where is it? Oh, how do I do it? View. There we go. Enter full screen. Oh, we've gone up to the top. Hold on a minute. Oh, shivers. Hold on a minute. We're having a little bit of a panic here. That's the wrong slideshow, so give me a second. Oh dear. Okay, teething problems here. Hold on 1 minute, everybody. That's why you should only have one Zoom talk up at a time, obviously. Now where's it gone? Oh gosh, this is a bit embarrassing, isn't it? Okay, here we go. So I found it. Why isn't it coming up? Bear with me, everybody. Okay. This hasn't happened to me before. Oh my gosh, I can't get it to come up. Right. Ruth, do you want to talk for a second while I...
Yep.
Do you want to present your part first while I suss out what's going on with this?
Yep.
Would that
be
all right? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. No worries at all.
Because, yeah, it's not happening for some reason. Okay.
No, that's all right.
Sorry about that, everyone.
All good, Noreen. These little things are meant to try sometimes, and we've all had it happen at some stage during one of these things. Technology, yeah, is meant to try us, isn't it, Sandy? And it's like, yes, it's not just me. Right. So I'm going to do the exercise part of this first. So what I want to talk to you about is that the good news is that you don't have to spend hours and hours training each week, because we're all really busy people, and I'm sure all of you would like to get your exercise done in a short amount of time rather than spending hours and hours out there for long runs or hours in the gym, doing weight training. So if we're comparing two different types of exercise, you were right there, Noreen, you got it? You're still going?
Yeah, I'm still going. Are you guys can still see her?
Yeah. You can all see me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep, cool. All right. So if we compare a 45-minute run versus 20 minutes of high-intensity interval training, I'm going to go more into the high-intensity interval training and talk to you about why that's really, really effective. If you guys were just to be asked, you know, whether you thought a 45-minute run would be better than doing 20 minutes of exercise, probably most of you would be of the opinion that the exercise that is longer, so the 45-minute run, is going to be more effective for you in burning fat and get you more results. But the difference between going for a 45-minute run and doing 20 minutes of, say, high-intensity interval training is that those different types of exercise use different energy systems. And I'll just touch on energy systems with you guys just a little bit. So your fat burning zone, all right, is when we do low intensity exercise. So your fat metabolizes very slowly. Therefore, it's that, you know, when you're going out for a brisk walk and you know, a light jog and exercises like that, where your body is actually burning more fat for fuel during that type of exercise. Now, the higher you get the heart rate up, the less fat you're actually burning for that activity. So most people would tend to assume that low intensity exercise is better for fat burning. So this is where high intensity training is very different. And high intensity training, instead of it burning fat while you're actually doing that type of training, your body's actually burning stored glucose, which is called glycogen. And that's when we have anything that's got sugar in it, or we have any carbohydrates, the body converts it into sugar in the blood, and then it gets stored. If we don't use it immediately, it gets stored in our muscles and in our liver, in the storage form of glucose, which is called glycogen. And our body draws on that glycogen, or those carbohydrates, for energy when we're working at really high intensities. So when we're training at high intensity, we use that glucose for energy. So the awesome thing about high intensity interval training is that even though we're not burning fat during that for energy during that type of training, we actually burn a lot of fat afterwards. And I'll talk to you about why that is. It's because of something called EPOC, which stands for excessive post-exercise oxygen consumption. So this is when we do really high intensity interval training, we have an oxygen deficit at the end of our training. So that's really when you're feeling that the effect of really, really intense training. It's a perceived rate of exertion of around sort of anywhere from a level 8 out of 10 to a level 10 out of 10. It's when you get to the end of exercise, and I don't know if any of you have ever experienced this, but when you're just breathing really heavily at the end of an intense workout, all right, where you've got the heart rate up super, super high, and you're sucking in that air and you're finding it really hard to breathe at the end of your training. So that's excessive post-exercise oxygen consumption. So the reason why that happens is because the blood can't deliver oxygen quickly enough to your working muscles. You can only work at that kind of intensity for very short periods of time, or very short bursts. So the body actually burns heaps of energy or fat after that type of training to get the body back into balance. All right, so that's why you tend to breathe really, really heavily. Your body's trying to get in as much oxygen as possible to pump it through to all the working muscles. So you actually burn more fat in the 24 hours after doing this type of training, and it was really, really good for increasing your metabolism. So high intensity interval training, there's some different ways that you can do it. I tend to recommend to people, there's a great form of training called Tabata, and I'll touch on that a little bit more. But what we want to think of is the kind of exercises we want to do when we do this type of training is big compound exercises. So compound exercises are where they're multi-joint exercises, so where we use lots of different joints. So everybody loves to hate burpees, don't they? Does anyone not know what a burpee is? I should ask, has everyone heard of a burpee? Most people have, and most people hate them. Every time I get my boot campers or any of my MetaFit clients to do a burpee, they usually tend to grizzle and groan about it. It's not the nicest exercise because it's a multi-joint exercise. So you're using the leg muscles, you're using the muscles of the upper body, you're using, all your limbs and all your joints. So it is a great exercise because you are using lots and lots of different muscles. You're actually, increasing your energy and burning a lot more energy during those kind of exercises. So exercises like burpees, floor to sky jumps, tuck jumps, jumping lunges, jumping squats, all those big kind of compound exercises are really, really good to do in this type of training. Or even just a sprint on the spot, a high knee run on the spot is really, really good as well. So Tabata training is something that I like to do and I work with a lot. I work with a program called MetaFit, which is high intensity interval training, and it has different phases of work and different phases of rest. So usually the work periods are slightly longer than the recovery periods. So Tabata training it's a high intensity interval training principle that was designed by Dr. Tabata. He was a Japanese professor, and he invented this type of training. It works in the principle of 20 seconds of work and 10 seconds of rest, and you do that 8 times, and it only goes for 4 minutes. So the idea of this type of training is that you go as hard as you possibly can and push yourself to your maximum in that 20 seconds of work phase, and then you have a 10-second rest, and you do that over and over. So it's really, really short and sharp, but really, really effective. You can even do this with, like I said, sprinting on the spot. So a high knee run on the spot where you're getting the knees up as high as possible, up towards the hips, and really pumping the arms and getting everything moving. You'd be really surprised how quickly that gets the heart rate up. So there's an awesome app that you can get. There's actually many Tabata timers that you can buy for free in the App Store. I came across a great one that I keep on my phone, and I use it if I'm putting clients through a Tabata workout, or if I'm putting myself through a Tabata workout. So it's a great app to use because it will just give you those little alarm bells when you need to start and when you need to stop each round. So that's good. It's good. So I'd suggest if you're wanting to do this type of training, you search for a Tabata timer in the App Store. And like I said, it's only 4 minutes a day. So you can actually get heaps of benefit from doing this type of training, just 4 minutes a day initially. So if this is something you're wanting to give a go, I would suggest doing it just for 4 minutes a day and starting off doing something just like a run on the spot, and then starting to introduce some more of the big compound exercises. So gradually you could look at, increasing what you're doing from 4 minutes a day to perhaps doing 8 minutes a day. And what I would suggest is that after you've done 4 minutes of Tabata training, that you have a good 4 or 5 minute rest in between where you get the heart rate right down again, so that when you do your next phase of 4 minutes of Tabata training, you can get the heart rate right up again. So the idea of this type of high intensity interval training is that you get the rests in between, so that you can recover and go just as hard again. That's kind of how high intensity interval training works. Like I said, if you're doing 3 rounds of Tabata, 4 minute Tabata rounds a day, that's only 12 minutes of exercise, and you could get more benefit from that 12 minutes of Tabata training than a 45-minute steady state run, because you're working a different energy system. You're working in that higher intensity range. So your body, although your body's not burning fat, like I said, it does burn. Your body can actually burn fat for up to 24 hours afterwards. So it's amazing for increasing your metabolism and burning fat. We all want to burn. I say to my boot campers, it's great to think of, after you've done a session like that in the morning, going to work, especially if you're someone who sits at a desk all day and at a computer, knowing that you've done that type of training in the morning and that your body's happily burning away fat while you're sitting at a computer. Another thing I want to mention to you guys as well is the importance of resistance training or weight training. And that doesn't have to mean going to the gym and lifting heavy weights. You can get good effect and good benefits from this type of training by doing body weight exercises at home. Quite often this is a missing link when it comes to fat burning, and I think there's a lot of a general assumption out there when it comes to women that if you want to lose fat, you've got to do lots and lots of cardio. So you've got to go for long runs, and you've got to spend lots of time during the week doing that cardio work. So what I want to explain to you is that resistance training and how it works is that when you are lifting weights or doing body weight exercises, you get little microscopic tears in your muscles, and that that's what results in DOMS, or delayed onset of muscle soreness. And I think Noreen's going to touch on this slightly in her presentation. But this is actually a really good thing. So that really intense muscle soreness that you feel after you start an exercise program where you're doing weights or you're doing body weight exercises, and you maybe find it hard to get up and down off the toilet for the next couple of days because your legs are so sore. We've all been through that before and know that pain. That's actually microscopic tears in your muscles. And the body actually has to burn lots of energy to repair those muscles. So the more lean muscle mass that you have in your body, the more your body burns fat at rest. So the higher your resting metabolic rate. So we all want to make sure that everyone wants to have a high metabolism, because we know that a higher metabolism is associated with your body burning fat more easily. So making sure you have good lean muscle mass is really, really important. And I think for women, or just in general, but women especially, as we get older, we lose that muscle mass every year as we age. So it's really important that we are doing some form of resistance training so that we continue to maintain muscle mass and also increase it, so that we can increase our metabolism and get our bodies burning fat efficiently. So resistance training and high intensity interval training, means a higher rate of fat burning and a higher metabolism at rest. The more your body burns fat at rest. So they're my top tips, Noreen, for getting the most out of your exercise.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ruth. That is gold. And I feel bad because my husband's been saying to me for ages, I started going to the gym with him, and he goes hard out on the elliptical, and then he has like 2 to 3 minutes completely at rest. And I'm like, babe, you don't really look like you're doing anything. Like, he goes really, really nuts when he's going nuts. But now I'll be like, oh, actually, you're onto a good thing there. And I love it. I mean, who can't afford to do 4 minutes at the very minimum, or up to 12 minutes, and know that that's, burning fat enough for the next 24 hours instead of, quite often I'll drive along and you see people that are just slogging it out. And obviously some people love running and they're training for half marathons and things like that, but I'm not a natural runner. So yay, thank you for giving me that awesome tips. So with the resistance training, Ruth, is there a minimum amount of time that we should be doing, or is it just however much time we've got?
Look, you can work, your major muscle groups within 20 minutes. You certainly don't have to spend like 45 minutes to an hour at the gym doing weights. Just as long as you are, I'm getting a bit of feedback, sorry. Put me off a bit, hearing my own voice coming back at me. As long as you're getting sort of, 20 minutes when you do a weight session is sufficient. Yeah, and just making sure that you're working the major muscle groups. So if if you're working your chest, you're working your back muscles as well. If you're working the fronts of your legs, your quads, that you're working your hamstrings as well, and your shoulders, and yeah.
Awesome. And we've just got a quick little question here from Rach, which is I've got feedback on my end too. Any examples of resistant exercises, please?
So resistance exercises, I'll give you body weight examples because, not everyone's going to be going to the gym. So push-ups for your chest muscles, all right? It's a great exercise that you can do. I think when we're doing weight, sorry, I'm getting feedback. It's really putting me off. Can we perhaps get, Bev, can you just mute your end? I'm just wondering where that's coming from your end. Noreen, could you just mute Beverly? There we go. Yeah, that's better. Cool. Okay, that was putting me off massively. No one likes to hear their own voice. Okay, so to work your chest muscles will be push-ups. All right, so they're easy. For leg muscles, lunges and squats are 2 really important exercises to do for leg muscles. So if you can have some, if you are doing exercises at home, if you've got maybe a stack of potatoes that you could hold on to while you're doing some squats. Lunges, obviously, body weight lunges, if you haven't done that type of exercise before, just doing lunges body weight without any resistance is going to be great for you. Push-ups for the chest. What is hard when you are doing body weight exercises is trying to hit those posterior muscles, so the muscles on the backs of your body. So what I would suggest is like a resistance tube. I don't have one here in my office, but you may have seen like a rubber tubing that you can get that have got handles on the end. You can usually get them from the warehouse or any sports store like that. They are really, really good. A great piece of equipment to have that you can travel with. You're taking your suitcase anywhere that you go, and you're able to, you know, use that tube to do rows and to hit your back muscles. Bridges are great exercises to do for your glutes. You pretty much want to be working, glutes, your leg muscles, chest muscles, back muscles, and shoulders. So there's not a whole lot of exercises that you need to do to be able to work all those muscle groups.
Awesome. Thanks, Ruth. I have written all of those down. Wish you were in Nelson so you could just take a class for me. Okay, so we're going to get on to food, and let's hope this works. Come on, computer. You can do it. Can you see that? Say yes. Can you see that? Good. Right, make it big. Can you still see that? Somebody. Oh, I can't see you because I've made it big.
Yeah,
okay.
We can see it.
All right, here we go. Effective food and fitness. This is all back to front. So we'll just go straight to the next screen. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what happens when we're doing these exercises, like what Ruth's told us to do. So there's a few things that happen in the body. The first is exactly what Ruth was talking about, which is a muscle breakdown and tearing of the actual fibres of the muscle. And this actually allows them to grow and expand. It happens naturally. But what we have to remember is what we want to put into place through our diet is we need the amino acids from protein to repair that damage that's done in the muscles. And this is honestly probably the one thing that a lot of athletes do focus on is the protein. Unfortunately, a lot of them are choosing to have protein powders that are whey-based, which, you know, a lot of it is pretty much just skim milk powder. And it's not, you know, in the clinic, the one thing I do test up the most for the two most allergic foods, one of them is dairy and one of them is wheat. So what I find is people that are just pumping, you know, heaps of whey protein into their bodies generally can come in to see me with a lot of inflammation in their body because their digestion isn't actually very happy with that type of protein. So we're going to talk about an alternative protein that we use. The second thing that occurs when we exercise is that you get a build-up of that lactic acid, and you all would have been there and done there and felt that. That's when, you know, you're running up the hill or you're walking up the hill, or Ruth's got you in a class and getting you to do, you know, 20 lunges or squats and your legs are just burning, and it's that feeling of like, whoa. And people that, you know, exercise for long periods of time, you know, marathon runners, people that are doing long multi-sport events and stuff like that, they know what it is. It's when you hit the wall, it literally is like, oh, I just can't go any further. I can't push past it. And that's literally due to the natural formation of this lactic acid, as you can see, in the muscle cells themselves. So we need to add in foods into our diets to buffer that lactic acid buildup, and we're going to go through those in a minute. The third thing that happens in the body when we exercise is something called oxidative stress. So you would have all heard the term free radicals, but what actually are they and what's happening here? So a free radical is formed. It's a natural byproduct from burning oxygen in our body. So you can imagine when you're exercising, obviously you're breathing way harder and faster than you would be at a natural state of relaxation. So understandably, more and more free radicals are being formed when we actually exercise. So free radicals it's actually an unstable molecule that's missing one electron. So it's always searching for another molecule that it can kind of steal an electron off. It's searching for balance, really. But the problem with these free radical unstable molecules is that they can literally attach themselves to some of your healthy molecules and cells in your body. Unfortunately, they can't be avoided. It's just a natural thing that does happen. But we have ways to neutralise the formation, well, not really the formation, but the effect of the free radicals. And we can also do this through food, which is just awesome. So here's a pretty space age picture for you. So this is actually this purple blobby thing. This is called your mitochondria. And this is a cell here. The mitochondria is actually the energy producing part of your cell. So it produces a energy form called ATP in the body, which the rest of the cells in the body understand. So the mitochondria are extremely important in our cells for this energy production. So what happens when our cells and our muscles are working hard is that the mitochondria has to obviously push out more ATP and more energy. But what happens is when these free radicals start to be formed, remember they're trying to find something to bind onto. So they can go and start to affect the actual cell membrane structure. So that can be of your muscles or your tendons or any cell in the body, to be honest. And what can happen after time is if we don't start mopping up these free radicals, they can actually go and start to attack not attack, it sounds so sinister, but can start to affect the mitochondria themselves. And that's not what we want to happen. We want the mitochondria to continue to be able to produce this energy that our body needs. So, it's really important that we start to mop up the effect of the free radicals themselves. And we can do this through food. And this is exactly what Ruth talked about before, is that, yes, it's okay to have some of that delayed onset muscle soreness when you're like, okay, I'm feeling okay about this, that I had a good workout and I can't sit on the toilet. I've been there, done that. But it's more for when it goes on and every time you exercise, or for people that are exercising at a slightly higher level, maybe more, again, we're going to the realm of more of the elite athlete, marathon runners, elite athletes, triathletes, stuff like that. But what they find is that, it was a bit of they didn't know why it was happening. So one of the theories behind this delayed onset muscle soreness, why they have a big event and the next day they're not so bad, but 48 hours they can be really bad, is that during that time from the event up to 48 hours after and onwards, it's the reason they're feeling it is because this free radical production has continued to spike. Now, what we want to do is we want to be able to protect our bodies and protect our cells before we get the effects of the free radicals, sort of attacking the tissue. So unfortunately, a lot of that free radical damage is occurring without us even knowing it. And it's like when you get an athlete that all of a sudden they've got a hamstring tear that just doesn't get better, or they've got a ligament that just is always tweaking them out. Quite often it's that has been going on for a long time prior to that symptom starting. So what we want to stress to people is that when you're exercising, we want to make sure you're getting enough nutrition to stop that from occurring, not stop it from occurring, but to alleviate the effect of the free radicals. So what do we have? How can we do this? And the best way we have is through food, obviously, and healthy choices. So actually those healthy choices don't look very good there in the macronutrition. But this is to show you that we need 2 types of food into our bodies to mop up that free radical damage and to also give our cells exactly what they need to recover from exercise. We need macronutrition, which is like the fuel for our motor, which is our body. But we also need this beautiful micronutrition, which is the oil. It's going to keep your body running smoothly. It's exactly like a car engine analogy, as you can see. So first of all, we're just going to flick back to the free radicals. So how do we mop up free radicals in the body? And that's when we come to this beautiful word, antioxidants, which you would have heard a lot about, no doubt. So antioxidants are found in beautiful, coloured, gorgeous foods like these. And isn't that just the best picture? It just makes me want to eat it. So the effective foods that we want to focus on are the antioxidants, the fast-acting plant-based protein, because remember we were going back to when we're injuring or damaging the muscle cells themselves, we need the protein, but we're choosing to do it from a plant. And we need the huge array of phytonutrients, all that mean is nutrition from plants, to just go into our body and be able to mop up all of that free radical production. So a really simple way, I mean, look, I'll be really honest. I say to people the recommended daily allowance for fruits and vegetables is 7 to 13 servings a day. But when you exercise, that goes up to like 13 to 17 servings a day of fruits and vegetables. And, you know, I don't know any athlete or anyone who's working out that is focusing on just literally eating tons of fruits and vegetables. Usually, like I said, they're focusing on the protein. And we really need to start that education of fruits and vegetables are fantastic for the athlete. They're fantastic for the weekend warrior. They're absolutely essential if you're going to the gym and working out and exercising your body. So a really easy way that we use is Juice Plus products, because they are made from all of these beautiful fruits and vegetables. So they bridge the gap between what these athletes should be eating but what they actually get around to eating every single day. Easy and convenient and affordable. You know, I just pop 2 of the fruit, 2 of the veg and 2 of the berry every day, and obviously I feel great after I exercise. So it's a simple solution. What I love about Juice Plus is that we have a ton of athletes that use these products to amazing effects, not only with their training but also during events, and we're going to go through that in a minute. So Juice Plus, which is made from 30 varieties of fruits, vegetables and berries. We have a whole ton of science behind us. As you can see here, there's some of the universities around the world that have done the clinical research studies on our products. And, you know, it's proven, some of the studies have proven it reduces systemic inflammation in the body. It helps to protect your DNA in the body. So it helps cardiovascular health. All of these things are absolutely vital when we are focusing in on that exercise component and recovery from exercise. So let's flick back to that other really, really vital component. We've done the micronutrition, which is covered through eating a whole food-based diet, hugely full of rainbow of plants, and taking Juice Plus. And then how do we get our macronutrition? So the macronutrition is the larger food groups. It's your proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. And, you know, obviously, you see the people that work out, especially I think of weight trainers that sit down and have a massive steak after their workout to get the protein into them. Well, we've got a better solution, which is have a balanced diet and eat some high quality protein on your plate with 60% of beautiful salads and vegetables. But when you don't have time to prepare that meal, we have an alternative, which is the Juice Plus Complete. It's a completely balanced nutrition drink, 13 grams of plant-based protein. There's no whey in this product. It's really, really high in fiber, which means that you're absorbing everything at a really good level within the cells. And because there's so much fiber in it, we have a low glycemic index on the product. So we have amazing results with the Complete with athletes. I have one either before I go to the gym or when I come home sometimes. And it just really hits the spot and keeps me full as well for a number of hours. And I definitely notice it if I miss it in the morning, like I did this morning, and then I was hungry again at 10 o'clock. So here are some of the athletes. We've got an amazing website, which is, if you want to write it down, it's juiceplussports.com. And it's these are just a few of the athletes in Australia that use our products, the Juice Plus products, in their training. So as you can see, we're not talking about somebody who's just walking on the weekend. But in saying that, if you're doing that, the products are still going to help you. But for the people that you know that are really excelling in their sports and it's their passion, well, you can see that you can go onto that website and go onto each person and click on them, and you see their comments about Juice Plus and what they've noticed in their training regimes, etc. So, you know, how can we use these products and food as well to help us when we're exercising? So I've just written down like a good example of a super smoothie is, you know, you could take your Juice Plus Complete. We've got the vanilla or the chocolate, which is your balanced nutrition, your macronutrition. You could mix it with some coconut water, so it's full of great electrolytes for recovery after exercise, maybe a frozen banana, a bit of potassium, some cinnamon powder to regulate your blood sugar, reduce inflammation, some coconut oil for the immunity, metabolism, and your omegas, and maybe some chia seeds. I mean, you can really get creative with whatever you're going to put in there, but those are just some of the foods that we like to focus on for people that are exercising. And I've just got here, there's some training race food ideas. So for people, you know, if you're a mountain biker, for example, or you're going into, I've got the Spring Challenge in a couple of weeks, which sounds way more hard than I'm hoping what it's going to be. But it's whitewater rafting and orienteering through the bush in a mountain bike. So I'm going to make this chopped chia jelly. So all it is 4 tablespoons of chia seeds, 1 cup of, I make my almond milk at home, and then a sachet of the complete. And what I'll do is I'll just mix all of that up and leave it in the fridge overnight for the chia seeds to swell up, and then just put them into little Ziploc bags or something of that equivalent to take with us on the race itself. So that's a huge boost of, you know, it's like you're having a meal, but it's so easy to carry, and it's just going to give me that energy to get through, I hope. And I'm also going to make some of these energy protein balls. So you can see the recipe there. We've got whatever nuts you want to use. I like using almonds with a little bit of walnuts. And we've just got so many superfoods in there, you know, some beautiful cacao, which is naturally high in magnesium, which of course is going to help with that muscle recovery. Again, we've got the coconut for its effects, the cinnamon. I'm still having that vanilla complete for that balanced nutrition. A little bit of a burst of, you know, energy with the dates in here itself. Goji berries, chia seeds. Yeah, it's just amazing. And I actually had a client of mine who, she's an amazing lady. She's 60 plus, and she was doing these really long bike races. And she was really stoked to have an alternative to those disgusting, sweet, sugary things that they have. So I loaded her up. She had no Camelback water, and she had in a water bottle coconut water for the electrolytes. She had the chopped chia jellies, which she said was fairly hard to have on the bike and kind of dribbled all over her chin. And she had the protein balls. The other thing that she used, which we give to athletes as well, is the Juice Plus Soft Chews, which is 17 varieties of fruits and vegetables, but they're put into this lovely natural gelatin base. And you can just chew them while you're exercising or through the event. And of course, we're always going to, on an event day, we're going to double up, sometimes even triple up on our Juice Plus capsules, just to mop up all of that free radical production that we talked about before. So people always ask me, well, how much does all this cost? So we've just got, you know, here's a idea of what you could choose. So for an athlete, I would always go for the max pack. And, you know, I say to people, we're at $5.65 a day. This is in Australian dollars, but not much difference to New Zealand at the moment. It's extremely affordable because you go after a gym to get a smoothie. I know in my gym, they're probably about $6 or $7, and you're definitely not getting a sachet or half a sachet of complete in that. So it's pretty affordable. If people want to order things separately, then obviously they can as well. Alrighty. So I'm just going to come back off that. Stop the share. Okay, we're back. So that was a bit stressful because I couldn't see any of you. I was just talking to the screen and hoping. It was so quiet. I was thinking, oh my gosh, imagine if I come off and been talking to myself for half an hour. So, look, as you can see, you know, there has to be a balance. We have to nourish ourselves for that maximum performance and effectiveness with clever training, which is exactly what Ruth talked about. I mean, it's short, it's sharp, it's concise, it's effective. That's what I want in my exercise regime. Absolutely. I want to know that what I'm doing is the maximum, because I'm pretty busy. So most people are time poor. They want something quick and effective. And then you've also got the foods that now you can incorporate, and you can go out and educate people that you know that are exercising who are slamming down these whey powders and give them an alternative. That yes, absolutely, we have to have fruits and vegetables when we're training and exercise. We need some good high quality protein, and there's some good ways of getting that into us now. So Ruth, did you want to sum up tonight? I'm just going to hand you lovelies back over to Ruth. Thank you for letting me speak.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks, Noreen. That was awesome. So just, Noreen, and I hope you've enjoyed tonight's session. If you've got any questions, you can pop them in the chat, and we could perhaps answer them before we go. Or if you want to hang around, we'll be around for a few minutes. You can ask them live with us. But yeah, I totally agree with what Noreen has said. I've been taking the Juice Plus products myself for almost 2 years, and absolutely love what it's done, not only for my health, but how it's improved my training as well and my recovery. So the awesome thing, you know, when you take something like a product like Juice Plus, the benefits that you get to your own health and the benefits that you see and the changes that you see in other people are just something you want to tell people about. And I share it with as many people as I can, because I've seen what it's done for myself and for the people around me and my clients. So the cool thing is that, you know, there is the opportunity also to perhaps get your products a little bit cheaper by having your own wholesale account, and the opportunity of also just perhaps even making a little bit of income at home by having your own home-based business as well. So if it's something you're wanting to hear more about, we do have a event tomorrow night and every Tuesday night where we just go into a little bit more about the business side of Juice Plus as well. So look, if that's something you're wanting to look into and explore a bit more, we'd love to have you on that event tomorrow night. And I'm just it is a different ID to this one. I don't have it on me. Let me just check. I'll get it now. The ID number, if you're wanting to write down. You got it, Sandy?
Yeah, 756 812 8096. I'll put it in the chat.
Brilliant. Thank you, Sandy. That's great. So that's at 8 p.m. 8:15 p.m. tomorrow night. If you want to jump on that and just hear a little bit more about how you can get your Juice Plus products a little bit cheaper if you're wanting to do it that way. So yeah, so thank you very much everyone for getting on and for listening in. We hope we've provided you with some value, and if you've got any questions, just we can hang around for a few minutes. Otherwise, thank you very much. Thanks, Noreen.
Pleasure. Thanks everyone for coming on, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night, if not next week. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
See ya. Bye-bye.